There comes a moment, not in the noise of ambition, not in the loud applause of victory, but in the hush between breaths, when the soul leans forward and whispers, "You do not need to fight anymore." And in that moment, something ancient inside you begins to tremble, not from fear, but from recognition. A trembling that says, "Yes, I remember. I was not born for conflict. I was born for love." All the battles you have fought, all the grudges you have held, all the silent wars within your mind, what have they truly won you? Perhaps a sense of control, perhaps the illusion of power, but not peace, not joy, not the soft, sacred presence of love. You see, love and conflict cannot occupy the same space within you. One must yield. And in that yielding, a new way begins, not through striving, but through surrender. Surrender is not defeat. It is the holy act of laying down the sword and remembering that you were never at war to begin with. The enemy you were resisting was never truly outside of you. The conflict was always an echo of your own forgetting. Forgetting that you are not separate, not alone, not unloved. Forgetting that your brother's soul is a mirror of your own. And so we begin here. In this remembering, there is a river flowing beneath every hardened thought, every clenched fist, every anxious heartbeat. It is the river of love, soft, unassuming, endlessly patient. It does not force its way through the rocks. It wears them down over time with presence. That river lives within you. It is the stream of divine energy that asks not that you win, but that you yield. Not that you conquer, but that you connect. You were not designed for battle. You were sculpted from stillness, fashioned by love, formed in the silent knowing of the Tao, which teaches not through resistance, but through flow. Lao Tzu said, "Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it." Let your heart be like water, not to give up, but to give in to the power of softness. When Jesus said, "Love your enemies," he wasn't offering a command. He was offering a key, a doorway to freedom. For when you love your enemies, they lose their hold on you. They no longer inhabit your mind like ghosts, haunting your peace. You release them not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. You deserve the freedom that forgiveness brings. Not just freedom from them, but freedom from the part of you that believed you were not already whole without the fight. Conflict is the voice of the ego, ever defending, ever needing to be right. But love is the voice of the soul, ever inviting, ever accepting, ever still. You do not need to prove anything to return to this voice. You need only to be quiet enough to hear it again. So much of our pain comes from our insistence on being separate, from needing to be right, needing to win, needing to stand above or apart. But the soul does not divide. It joins. It weaves connection where the mind sees division. It sees the one behind the many, the shared light behind the different forms. You are not at war with the world. You are at war with the walls you have built inside yourself. And the end of conflict is not when the outside changes. It is when those walls dissolve. When you stop needing others to change for you to feel peace. When you stop needing to explain, to justify, to defend. When you stop guarding your heart and start living from it. This is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. To meet the world not with retaliation, but with recognition. Not with bitterness, but with benevolence. To see in every face, even the ones that have hurt you, the same longing to be seen, to be loved, to be held. To recognize that those who wound are often carrying wounds of their own. That every act of aggression is a cry of the unloved self. You do not heal the world by adding to its fear. You heal the world by being the presence that no longer reacts from fear. That no longer needs to match the darkness of others, because it remembers that light is your essence. And when you bring light into darkness, the darkness does not win. It dissipates. Begin with this moment. Let it be a temple, not a performance, but a presence. Let your breath be the incense. Let your awareness be the altar. And let every thought of judgment, of fear, of separation be placed gently upon that altar and released. Not analyzed, not battled, just released. When you do this, you begin to feel the subtle miracle of being alive, not in the grand achievements, but in the quiet dissolving of conflict. You begin to feel the space between reactions And in that space, you find your true self, not the one shaped by pain, but the one made of peace. That self does not argue. It listens. It does not punish. It understands. It does not close. It opens. Because it knows that to live in opposition is to be imprisoned by your own resistance. And to live in love is to walk freely through the world, no longer needing the armor that once weighed you down. When the mind tells you, they hurt me, I must protect myself, gently ask, is this protection or is this a prison? When the ego says, they must apologize, they must change, ask, am I giving away my peace in waiting? And when the past rises wearing the mask of memory, ask, do I want to relive this story or am I ready to release it? Each time you choose love, you dismantle the story of separation. Each time you forgive, you set down the burden of being the warden of someone else's punishment. Each time you return to presence, you return to power, not the power of domination, but the power of divine alignment. You don't need to solve the whole world. You only need to come home to your own heart. And in doing so, you ripple outward. You become the calm in someone else's storm. You become the presence that allows another to exhale, not by fixing them, but by being fully, unapologetically at peace within yourself. The end of conflict does not mean the end of injustice. It means the beginning of your capacity to respond rather than react, to act from clarity rather than chaos, to see what needs to be done without needing to be someone. This is where love begins, not in sentiment, but in surrender. Let every breath be a soft unraveling of the stories you've told yourself about what love is supposed to be. Love is not possession. It is permission. It is the holy invitation to let another be as they are, even when that means letting go, even when that means not understanding, even when it hurts. And so, beloved soul, I say again, you do not need to fight anymore. The battlefield was never your home. The sword was never your salvation. Lay them down and pick up the stillness, the awareness, the grace. The world will tell you this is foolish, that you must stand your ground, defend your image, fight to be heard. But the soul knows better. The soul knows that true power is not in shouting, it is in shining, not in resisting, but in remembering. You are not here to win the war. You are here to end it, and the end begins within. The end of conflict is not a thunderous event. It is not marked by banners or bells or declarations made to the world. It is quieter than that. It begins the moment you decide to no longer argue with reality. It begins in the instant when your heart sighs in relief, no longer needing to carry the tension of 1,000 unmet expectations. You exhale, and in that breath, the war ends. Not outside, but within. You see, peace is not something you earn. It is not awarded to the most deserving. It is not the result of a perfect sequence of actions. Peace is your natural state. It is the original condition of your soul before you were taught to defend, to compare, to brace against life. And to return to peace is not to gain something new. It is to release everything false. There is no conflict without resistance. And resistance is born not from truth, but from the fear of what is. When you believe you are separate, unworthy, or unsafe, you resist what arises. You label it, you judge it, you wish it were different. But when you see clearly, when you remember that life is not against you, but as you resistance dissolves into presence. Presence is the end of conflict, not because it erases pain, but because it meets pain without adding suffering. It meets pain with open arms and says, even this is welcome. Even this has something to teach me. Even this can be loved. Love, you see, is not a fragile flower that wilts under pressure. It is a fierce, eternal flame that burns through all illusion. It does not run from conflict, it transforms it. It does not fear darkness, it illuminates it. And when you choose love over fear, presence over projection, you become that flame. You become the light that no shadow can touch. But to choose love requires courage. Not the courage to conquer, but the courage to soften your gaze, to soften your grip, to soften your story, to look at the parts of yourself you've hidden behind walls and say, you are safe now, you can come home. Because it is not just others you've been in conflict with, it is yourself. The self you judged, the self you tried to fix, the self you silenced when it didn't meet the standards imposed by a world that forgot the sacredness of being. But the soul never forgets. The soul knows that your worth is not conditional. It knows that your beauty is not in your performance. It knows that healing is not a destination, but a return to what has always been whole beneath the masks, beneath the roles, beneath the noise. And so, when you release the inner conflict, when you stop trying to earn what is already yours, you become available to love. Truly available. Not as a concept, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a living force. A force that flows through your presence, through your gaze, through your silence. The end of conflict is not just the absence of fighting, it is the presence of grace. Grace that no longer needs to control. Grace that no longer needs to prove. Grace that trusts in the unfolding of life, even when it does not understand. This trust is not naive. It is not weakness. It is a holy defiance of the fear that has run your life for too long. It is the sacred choice to meet uncertainty with surrender instead of strategy, to meet discomfort with breath instead of armor, to meet others not with suspicion, but with truly seeing them as extensions of the same divine field. In this field, there are no enemies, only expressions of love remembered or forgotten, only souls on the same path home, each taking a different road, each carrying different wounds. And the more you remember this, the less you judge, the less you defend, the less you separate. You begin to live in communion, not competition. You begin to listen, not to respond, but to understand. You begin to speak not to be right, but to be real. And this reality, the one rooted in soul, in presence, in love, is the only one worth returning to. As the veil of conflict thins, you begin to see not just with your eyes, but with the eyes behind your eyes. You begin to perceive with the quiet clarity of the eternal self, the self that was never injured by opinion, never diminished by rejection, never stained by judgment. And in this clarity, something remarkable happens. Forgiveness becomes inevitable, not as a moral achievement, but as a natural consequence of vision restored. You do not need to try to forgive. You only need to see truly, to see the pain behind the attack, the fear behind the cruelty, the illusion behind the harshness. Forgiveness is not a favor you grant another, it is a freedom you grant yourself. It is the dissolving of the rope that tied you to a wound you no longer wish to revisit. And when that rope dissolves, your heart no longer drags the past behind it like a broken wing. You begin to fly, not in the eyes of the world, but in the sacred skies of your own freedom. Every ounce of conflict you've carried has weighed down the wings of your being. Every resentment, every grudge, every silent argument in your mind, these are the chains that bind you to what no longer lives. But what if I told you that the lock was never real, that the key was never lost, that in this very moment, with this very breath, you could release yourself? The mind will protest. It will say, but what they did was wrong. But I was right. But justice demands pain. And yet I ask you, whose pain are you carrying? Whose life are you delaying? Is justice served by staying in suffering, or is it awakened in the freedom to live unburdened? There is a deeper law than retribution. There is a higher justice than punishment. It is the justice of love which restores what was lost, not by demand, but by grace. And this justice begins when you stop keeping score and start keeping present. To be present is to be whole. And when you are whole, no one else's brokenness can define you. When you are rooted in being, no storm of criticism can uproot your peace. When you know who you are not as an idea, but as an experience, you no longer need the world to mirror your worth. You carry that mirror within. And in that mirror, you begin to see others differently. The ones you feared, you now recognize their fear. The ones who wronged you, you now sense their confusion. The ones you clashed with, you now feel their longing for love, for acceptance, for peace. Conflict dissolves not because others change, but because you are no longer looking through the eyes of the ego. The ego looks to win. The soul looks to understand. And understanding is the soil from which compassion grows, not a pitying compassion, but a sacred, silent recognition. I see you, not your behavior, not your story, but the light within you that forgot itself. And when you see like this, the world changes not because it becomes easier, but because you stop making it harder. You no longer add fuel to the fire of fear. You become water again, cool, soft, patient. You nourish what is real and allow what is false to wither on its own. And from this state, love arises. Not dramatic love, not conditional love, but holy love the kind that needs no words, the kind that shines from your presence like sunlight, making no effort, asking nothing in return. This love is your essence, not something you give, not something you receive, but something you are. The end of conflict is not the end of your strength. It is the beginning of your truest power, the power to stand in love when it would be easier to hate, the power to see clearly when the world prefers blindness, the power to walk lightly in a heavy world, not by escaping it, but by entering it fully with your heart open, your spirit awake, and your presence intact. This is the quiet revolution, and you are its beginning. There is a sacred art to no longer needing to be understood. It is the art of the soul that does not speak to be validated, but to express, that does not listen to be right, but to connect, that does not walk into a room looking to prove anything, but simply to radiate the quiet knowing of wholeness. And when you live from this place, you are no longer participating in the performance of life. You are embodying its truth. This embodiment is not loud. It is not showy. It is not wrapped in titles or accomplishments. It is found in the smallest things, the way your eyes soften when you meet a stranger's pain, the way your breath steadies when chaos swirls around you, the way you smile not out of obligation, but because your heart is no longer at war with the moment. This is the end of conflict, not when the world grows still, but when your resistance to it does. Not when people finally treat you how you wish, but when your peace no longer depends on how you are treated. Not when life gives you everything you asked for, but when you realize it already gave you everything you truly need, this breath, this awareness, this infinite now. You begin to notice how often the conflict was not in what happened, but in what you believed about what happened. You were not hurt only by the act, but by the meaning you gave it, the story you wrapped around it, the identity you attached to it. But meaning is not fixed, story is not stone. You can rewrite what you once believed was carved into you. You can revise the script not by pretending it never happened, but by no longer letting it define who you are. The true self is not defined by history. It is not bound by memory. It is the eternal witness, the silent seer behind the shifting scenes of your life. And when you begin to rest in that awareness, you touch something so vast, so unnameable, that even your deepest wounds begin to dissolve like fog in morning sunlight. This is what it means to be free, not free from emotion, but free within it, not numb, but open, not invulnerable, but unafraid. You feel fully, not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough to remain open in a world that teaches you to close. Let every sorrow come. Let every shadow rise. Let every ghost of the past knock at your door and welcome them, not as invaders, but as visitors, as messengers, as sacred guests sent to help you remember what part of yourself you've left behind in the cold. And one by one, with each breath of presence, you begin to reclaim those lost parts, not through force, but through forgiveness. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is not excusing. It is not condoning. Forgiveness is remembering who you are beyond the wound. Forgiveness is saying to yourself, I will no longer carry what is not mine to carry. It is the ultimate act of self-liberation, and it is born not from righteousness, but from love. The kind of love that recognizes its own reflection in every face, even the faces of those who could not love you back, even the faces that wounded you from their own place of pain, because that's the truth. People do not hurt others from their wholeness, they hurt from their fractures. They lash out not because they are full of truth, but because they are empty of it. And when you see this, truly see it, you can stop taking it personally. You stop needing an apology to be at peace. You stop needing closure to move forward. You stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to be free. And in that stopping, you begin. You begin to walk this earth as a being of light disguised in human form. You begin to speak not from wounds, but from wisdom. You begin to meet others not with expectation, but with sacred curiosity. Who are you beneath your pain? Who are you beyond your defense? Who are you when you too are free? And just like that, love is born. Again, and again, and again. It was never gone. It was only covered. Covered by hurt, by pride, by fear. But love is like the sun. It doesn't stop shining just because the clouds pass through. And you are that Sunday. You are that radiance. You are that presence behind every storm. This is the great return. Not to who you thought you needed to become, but but to who you have always been underneath the armor. When you truly understand that you are not here to win the war, but to end it, you begin to see differently. You begin to breathe differently. You begin to live not as a soldier, but as a sanctuary. And this shift from warrior to witness, from defender to divine observer, is not a retreat from life, but a return to it. You realize that the need to be right has cost you more than you ever gained, that every argument you clung to, every justification you rehearsed, was a subtle way of reinforcing the illusion that you were separate. Separate from them, separate from love, separate from your own soul. But separation is a dream, a passing mist, a trick of the ego. In truth, there is no them. There is only you, wearing different masks, living different stories, dreaming different dreams, and beneath it all, yearning to awaken from the same illusion. This is why the end of conflict is not the end of your power, but the beginning of your radiance. Because when you no longer need to win, you begin to serve. When you no longer need to dominate, you begin to guide. When you no longer need to defend, you begin to heal. And healing does not mean forgetting what happened. It means no longer letting what happened define your response to what is happening now. It means remembering that peace is not a passive state, it is a powerful one. A choice, a discipline, a way of living so rooted in your divine identity that nothing outside of you can steal it. The old you, the one built on wounds, on defense, on control, will tremble as it begins to fall away. Let it. Let the shedding feel like loss if it must, but know it is a sacred loss. You are not losing yourself. You are losing everything that was never you. Every label, every reaction, every role you played to survive. Survival is not living, and you were not born to merely endure. You were born to shine, to love, to expand, to be the open sky, not the storm that passes through it. Conflict teaches you to close, but life calls you to open. And when you answer that call, when you open your arms, your heart, your being, to what is, you meet the present moment without resistance. And the present moment is the only place where God lives, not in your memory, not in your projections, but here, now, in this breath. And in this breath, all is well. Not perfect, but whole. Not finished, but sacred. You begin to trust something deeper than logic. You begin to be led by something quieter than thought. Intuition becomes your compass. Compassion becomes your language. And you no longer see relationships as battlegrounds, but as mirrors, as classrooms, as sacred opportunities to remember who you are and who you are not. Let that remembering become your practice. Let it be the fire that burns away the need to be superior, to be defended, to be adored. Let it be the stillness that dissolves your urgency, your striving, your tension. Let it be the light that exposes your fear, not to shame it, but to love it home. Because the end of conflict is not a destination you reach one day. It is a choice you make in every moment. A choice to turn away from the illusion of separation and toward the eternal truth of connection. You are not the pain that was done to you. You are not the defense you learned to build. You are not the story you told to survive. You are the soul that is learning, breath by breath, to let it all go. To release the narrative, to return to the presence, to become again what you have never stopped being, a vessel of love. You have walked through the valley of conflict. You have felt the burn of injustice, the sting of misunderstanding, the ache of needing to be heard. And still, you are here, not hardened, not broken, but softened into presence, widened into wisdom, expanded into love. And now, at the edge of all you once fought to hold, you are asked one final question, not by the world, but by your soul. Are you willing to live unguarded? Not foolishly, not recklessly, but unguarded in the way that flowers are unguarded when they bloom toward the Sunday, in the way that rivers are unguarded as they empty themselves into the ocean, in the way that love is unguarded when it gives without condition, not because it is naive, but because it knows it cannot run out. To live unguarded is to finally trust the current of your own life, to no longer dam the river of emotion or resist the tides of change, or fight the flow of what is. It is to step back from the threshold of fear and say, I am done defending what no longer needs protection. I am done armoring a heart that was made to feel. I am done building walls around a soul that was meant to shine. And when you do this, when you choose the path of radical openness, the world does not grow safer. It grows sacred. Every encounter becomes holy. Every face becomes divine. Every wound becomes a window through which grace enters. You begin to see that what you feared was never the other. It was the reflection of your own unhealed self in the mirror of relationship. But now, you no longer fear what you see. You embrace it. You bless it. You integrate it. Because you finally understand nothing outside of you has power unless you give it power. You are the stillness in the storm. You are the light in the confusion. You are the love that never left. And so you begin to walk the world not with a clenched fist but with open hands. Not to control but to offer. Not to demand but to give. You become a presence so rooted in your being that even in chaos, you are calm. Even in rejection, you are whole. Even in loss, you are complete. This is what it means to be truly free. Not freedom as the ego defines it, a life without challenge, but freedom as the soul knows it, the capacity to remain in love no matter what. And this, beloved one, is the beginning of heaven on earth. Not a place you go to, a place you create with every surrendered breath, with every gentle word, with every silent choice to choose connection over control. The end of conflict is not a finish line. It is a starting point, the start of love, real love, the kind that doesn't rush into fix but sits still to feel, the kind that doesn't say you must become but whispers you already are, the kind that looks at a world on fire and says, I will be the water. Be that water, be that stillness, be that love. Let your life be the quiet revolution that shows others there is another way, a softer way, a truer way, a way where conflict ends and communion begins. You are not here to change the world by force. You are here to remember the world by heart. And when you do, when you live from that remembrance, you become the very thing the world has been aching for. A being who has made peace with life. A being who has made peace with themselves. And so we arrive not at the end, but at the return. The return to what was always true, always whole, always present. The end of conflict is the start of love. And love is where you belong. There comes a moment in every life when we find ourselves at the edge of a question so vast, so deep, that it echoes in the quietest corners of our soul. It is a question that arises not from the intellect, but from the heart. And it may come in the stillness of a quiet evening or in the midst of chaos. What am I truly seeking, you may ask? And when the noise of the world fades, there is an answer, gentle and certain, that rises from within. You are seeking yourself. This is the greatest paradox of our human experience. What we search for, what we long for, what we strive to attain is already within us. We have been taught to seek outward, to reach beyond ourselves, to chase dreams that seem so far away. But what if I told you that the very treasure you are looking for has always been within your grasp? That the peace you seek, the love you yearn for, the fulfillment you chase it, is not something to be found in the distant horizon of tomorrow. No, it is something to be awakened within you, something that already exists in the very fabric of your being. You were born whole, not after achieving something, not when you prove your worth, not when the world acknowledges you. No, from the first breath you took, you were complete. Your soul was already perfect, you were already enough. And yet, somewhere along the way, you forgot this truth. You began to identify with roles and labels, your name, your job, your body, your successes, your failures. You became convinced that you were separate from the whole, disconnected from the divine, in need of something outside of you to complete you. But I tell you now, beloved soul, the journey of your life is not one of becoming something more. It is the journey of remembering what you already are. You are not a seeker, you are a rememberer. You are not broken, you are whole, waiting to rediscover the infinite well of love, peace, and truth that resides within you. The world tells you that you must strive to prove yourself, that you must chase success and accumulate wealth, that you must climb higher and higher in an endless quest for approval, validation, and recognition. But I ask you, who are you when you strip away all of these external markers? Who are you when you are not defined by what you do, by what you own, by what you have accomplished? You are not your titles, your accolades, your failures, or your fears. You are not the story that you have been told to believe about yourself. You are the formless, the eternal, the infinite. You are the stillness behind the storm. You are the sky that holds the clouds but is not affected by them. You are the light that shines through the darkness, unaffected by the shadows it casts. You are the awareness that witnesses all, but remains untouched by it. When you begin to realize this truth, you will walk through this life with a lightness of being, because you will no longer feel the weight of needing to become something you are not. The ego will try to tell you otherwise. The ego will tell you that you need more success, more possessions, more recognition. It will whisper that you are not enough, that you are not worthy unless you accomplish more, become more, achieve more. But the truth, beloved soul, is that you are already enough. You were never incomplete. You do not need to chase after anything to become worthy. You are worthy because you are a divine expression of the source itself. This is the profound invitation that life offers you, not to become more, but to return to yourself. To return to the sacred space within you that has always been connected to the divine. You do not need to look outside for validation or fulfillment, because the wellspring of all that you seek resides within you. The more you seek outside yourself, the further you move away from your own essence. But when you turn inward, when you rest in the stillness within, you will find that everything you have ever longed for is already here. This journey inward is not a journey of isolation. It is not a retreat from the world. It is a journey of returning to the truth of who you are, so that you may live more fully in the world. When you remember your divinity, when you reconnect with the source of all love and peace within you, you no longer need to chase the world for happiness. Happiness becomes your natural state. It is not something to be earned or attained, but something to be remembered. And so, the more you remember, the less you need. You stop chasing, you stop striving, you stop pushing. You begin to live in the flow of life, allowing things to unfold as they are meant to, rather than trying to control or manipulate them. You become a vessel of grace, a beacon of love, a reflection of the divine. You begin to trust that all is well, because you know deep within that you are part of something much greater than yourself. You are part of the unfolding of the universe itself. And as you remember your place within it, your life becomes a beautiful expression of divine will. The more you live from this space of inner truth, the more you realize that life is not something to be controlled or mastered. Life is something to be surrendered to, something to be lived with an open heart and an open mind. You no longer need to fight against the current, you become the current. You move with life, not against it, trusting that everything you need will come to you in its own time, and that everything you encounter is an opportunity for growth, for awakening, for deeper connection with your own soul. In this space of surrender, the ego begins to dissolve. The need to control, the need to impress, the need to prove, all of these fall away like leaves in the autumn wind. And what remains is your true essence, pure, whole, and free. You no longer need to be someone you are not. You no longer need to chase after an image of yourself that the world has created. You simply need to be who you are in all your divine simplicity. When you awaken to this truth, everything changes. Your relationships change. Your work changes. Your sense of purpose deepens. You no longer need to seek approval from others because you have already given yourself permission to be. You no longer need to chase after fleeting moments of happiness because you realize that true joy comes from within. You no longer need to fear the future or regret the past because you understand that the present moment is all there is. And in this present moment, you are whole, you are loved, and you are free. This is the most important journey you will ever take, the journey within. It is the journey of returning to your true self, of remembering who you are, and of living from that place of deep inner knowing. It is not a journey of striving or becoming. It is a journey of being. It is the journey of shedding all that is not you, all the masks you have worn, all the stories you have told yourself, so that you can finally rest in the truth of your being. The ego will resist this. It will try to tell you that you are not enough, that you are not worthy, that you must do more to be loved. But the soul knows the truth. The soul knows that you are already enough. You are already whole. You are already loved. So, I invite you now to let go of the need to search. Let go of the need to become. You are already everything you seek. The love, the peace, the joy, the freedom, it is all within you. All you need to do is stop searching and start remembering. The truth is not something to be found. It is something to be recognized. It is something to be awakened within you. And when you awaken to this truth, your life will no longer be a struggle. It will be a dance. a dance of surrender, of trust, of love. You will no longer feel the need to fight against life, because you will know deep within that life is not happening to you, it is happening for you. Every experience, every encounter, every moment is an invitation to awaken further, to remember more fully, to live more deeply. This is the most important journey you will ever take. It is the journey inward. It is the journey of returning to yourself. And as you make this journey, you will find that everything you seek has always been within you. You are whole. You are enough. You are loved. And you are free. And so, as you sit in the stillness of this moment, let yourself breathe deeply, for every breath is a whisper from the divine, inviting you to remember. The breath that rises and falls in your chest is the rhythm of the universe itself, life moving through you. You do not need to force this rhythm, you need only to surrender to it. It will carry you effortlessly to places you have never imagined, and it will carry you home, back to the center of your own being. This is the sacred dance of life. When you stop trying to control it, when you stop trying to master it, you are finally free to live in harmony with it. The world will continue to beckon you outward. It will continue to present distractions, opportunities, and demands. It will continue to tell you who you should be and what you should do. But, beloved soul, there is a greater voice within you, a still, quiet voice that knows the truth. It speaks not through force, but through gentle guidance. It whispers not in the chaos, but in the quiet moments when you listen. It is the voice of your true self, the voice of the eternal essence that lies beneath all the layers of conditioning and fear. And this voice, though soft, is the loudest and most powerful voice you will ever hear, because it speaks the language of the soul. This is the voice that tells you, you are enough, you are whole, you are love. There's nothing you need to prove, nothing you need to attain, nothing you need to become. In the eyes of your soul, you are already perfect. You are not a collection of experiences. You are the one who witnesses them. You are not the body you inhabit. You are the consciousness that animates it. You are not the story you tell yourself. You are the space in which that story unfolds. And when you know this truth deeply, you can no longer be shaken by the temporary storms of life. You begin to see them for what they are, passing clouds, momentary fluctuations in the vast sky of your being. You see, the world tells you that you are limited. It tells you that you are bound by time, by circumstances, by your past, by your fears. But the soul knows that there is no limit to who you are. You are infinite. You are the very breath of the divine, the spark of creation itself. There is no beginning and no end to you. You are not confined by the narrow definitions of the world. You are expansive, boundless, eternal. When you remember this truth, you begin to see that your life is not a series of isolated events. It is a sacred journey, unfolding exactly as it should, in perfect divine order. You do not need to force anything to happen. All you need to do is align with the truth that is already within you and trust that life will carry you where you need to go. The world may tell you that peace is something you must earn, that love is something you must seek, that happiness is something you must strive for. But this is the illusion. Peace, love, and happiness are not destinations to be reached. They are the essence of who you are, waiting to be remembered. You were born into this world not to find yourself, but to remember who you already are. You are not here to search for validation. You are here to express your truth. You are not here to chase after love. You are here to be love, to embody it, to radiate it into the world around you. And in doing so, you will find that love, peace, and happiness come to you, not because you pursued them, but because they are the natural state of your being. When you allow yourself to rest in the stillness of your soul, you begin to realize that the pursuit of external goals is not what brings true fulfillment. The real joy comes from within, from the quiet knowing that you are already whole, already perfect, already aligned with the divine. This is the place from which true creativity flows, from which true abundance arises, from which true peace emanates. When you stop looking outside of yourself for validation, you become a magnet for everything you've been searching for. You attract not because you seek, but because you are aligned with the truth of your own being. You attract not from a place of lack, but from a place of abundance. You are no longer chasing the world, you are simply allowing the world to meet you where you are. This is the power of presence. This is the power of being, not doing. When you are fully present in the moment, when you allow yourself to simply be, you step into the flow of life. You are no longer pushing against the current. You are no longer striving to control the outcome. Instead, you trust the process. You trust that everything is unfolding as it should, and you know that you are exactly where you need to be. In this place of deep trust, miracles begin to happen. Things fall into place without effort. The universe begins to conspire in your favor, and you begin to realize that the more you surrender, the more you receive. You do not need to work harder. You need to work smarter by aligning with the truth of your being, by living from the deepest part of your soul. And in this deep surrender, you are liberated. You are liberated from the need to impress, to achieve, to become something you are not. You are liberated from the false belief that you must chase after love, success, or validation. You are liberated from the grip of fear and doubt that once held you back. And in this liberation, you find freedom, not the freedom that comes from external circumstances, but the freedom that comes from within, the freedom to be yourself, the freedom to live in alignment with your soul, the freedom to express your truth without fear of judgment, because you no longer seek the approval of others. You know deep within that you are already whole, already loved, already free. So in this moment, I invite you to release the struggle. Let go of the need to search, to strive, to prove. Instead, embrace the truth that is already within you. You are not a separate being, disconnected from the source of all life. You are the source itself, flowing through this world in a unique and beautiful expression. You are not lost. You are exactly where you need to be. You are not broken. You are already whole. You are not searching for love because you are love. You are not searching for peace because you are peace. You are not searching for happiness because you are happiness. And as you begin to fully embrace this truth, your life will transform. The world around you will begin to shift. The relationships that once felt strained will soften. The fears that once held you captive will dissolve. The obstacles that once seemed insurmountable will no longer seem so, because you will no longer be fighting against them. Instead, you will be flowing with them, knowing that they too are part of the divine design, part of the journey that is leading you back to yourself. This is the beauty of the path you are on. It is not a path of becoming. It is a path of remembering. It is not a path of seeking. It is a path of surrender. And when you surrender to the truth of who you are, you will find that the world opens up to you in ways you never imagined. You will begin to live not from a place of lack, but from a place of abundance. You will begin to speak not from a place of fear, but from a place of love. You will begin to act not from a place of duty, but from a place of inspiration. And in this space of true alignment, your life will become a reflection of the divine. Every moment will be sacred. Every encounter will be a blessing. Every challenge will be an opportunity for growth. And you will walk through this world not as a seeker, but as a soul who has remembered the truth. You are already whole. You are already enough. You are already free. And so as you move through this day, through this life, remember, the most important journey is not the one that takes you outward into the world. It is the journey that takes you inward, to the depths of your own being. It is the journey of returning to the truth of who you are. And when you walk this path, you will find that everything you have ever sought has always been right here within you. You are already enough. You always have been. And now, you are free. And so, as you sit with this truth, this quiet, gentle knowing, allow it to seep into the deepest parts of your being. You are not a fleeting moment in time. You are not a single breath among countless others. You are the eternal breath itself. You are the pulse of creation flowing in and out endlessly, without effort, without struggle. You are not bound by the hands of time. For time itself is an illusion, a construct created by the mind. In reality, there is only the present moment, this one moment, where everything begins and ends, where the universe unfolds, where all things converge in perfect harmony. When you let go of the need to grasp at the past or chase the future, you will discover that the only true moment is this one right here, right now. The moment where you are not defined by who you were, nor who you think you need to be, but simply by the fact that you are. You exist. And in this existence, in this moment, there is nothing to prove, nothing to gain, nothing to lose. There is only this perfect expression of life that is unfolding through you. What would it feel like to rest completely in the now? To release all the stories you've carried with you, all the roles you've been told to play, and simply to be? What if you could experience life as it is, in all its beauty, without the filter of judgment or expectation? What if you could stop chasing and simply receive? The truth is, the more you chase, the further you move from the present moment. The more you strive for something outside yourself, the more you disconnect from the divine current that is always flowing within you. And so the invitation is simple. Stop chasing, stop seeking, stop striving, allow yourself to be right now exactly as you are. In this space of simply being, you begin to experience the world not as a series of obstacles to overcome, but as a reflection of your own inner state. When you are at peace within, the world around you becomes a mirror of that peace. When you are filled with love, the people you encounter reflect that love. When you are rooted in stillness, you become the eye of the storm, the center of calm in the midst of chaos. You see, everything is energy. Your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, all of them emit a frequency, a vibration. And when you are aligned with the truth of who you are, when you are living from a place of inner knowing, that energy radiates outward, touching everything in its path. This is the power of alignment. This is the magic of presence. You no longer need to force outcomes or manipulate situations. You simply allow your energy to be a living expression of your inner truth and watch as the world mirrors that truth back to you. And as you begin to live from this place, you will see that the external world begins to shift. The challenges that once seemed insurmountable will appear less daunting. The people who once triggered you will no longer have the power to disturb your peace. You will find yourself moving through life with grace, with ease, with a quiet knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. There will be no more need to chase after success, after recognition, after approval. The pursuit of these things will fall away because you will realize that you are already whole, already complete, already worthy. And in this realization, you will experience the beauty of living in harmony with the flow of life. You will no longer resist the natural rhythms of the universe. You will no longer fight against the current, for you will know that the current is taking you exactly where you need to go. Life will no longer be a battle to be won, but a dance to be experienced. And as you surrender to the dance, you will find yourself moving in perfect harmony with the universe. Each step, each breath, an expression of the divine. In the stillness, in the surrender, in the letting go of control, you will discover that the world around you is a reflection of your inner state. The more you align with your soul, the more the world will align with you. You no longer need to manipulate or force outcomes. You no longer need to control the flow of life. When you are in alignment with your true self, life flows effortlessly, like a river that is no longer dammed, but allowed to follow its natural course. And in this flow, you will discover that everything you need is already here. You are not searching for something you do not already have. You are not looking for happiness, because happiness is your natural state. You are not looking for peace, because peace is who you are. You are not looking for love, because love is the essence of your being. All that you seek is already within you, waiting to be remembered. And as you remember, you will find that you are no longer bound by the limitations of the past or the expectations of the future. You are no longer a prisoner of your own mind, trapped in cycles of fear, doubt, and uncertainty. You are free. Free to live as the divine expression of life that you are, free to create, to love, to serve, to be. This is the freedom that comes from awakening to the truth of who you are. It is not the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. It is the freedom to be who you are, without apology, without fear, without the need to prove anything to anyone. It is the freedom to live from the deepest part of your soul, to express your truth without fear of judgment or rejection. It is the freedom to love without conditions, to give without expectation, to serve without attachment. And in this freedom, you will find that life becomes a sacred expression of the divine. Every action, every word, every thought becomes an offering, a prayer, a blessing. You will begin to see that the small things are the big things, the way the sunlight dances on the leaves, the sound of birds singing in the morning, the feeling of the earth beneath your feet. All of these things are sacred. All of these things are an expression of the divine. And as you awaken to this truth, you will see that nothing in your life is random. Every person you meet, every experience you have, every challenge you face is a part of the divine plan. There is no such thing as coincidence. Everything is happening for your awakening, for your growth, for your evolution. And when you understand this, you no longer need to fear the challenges that come your way. You no longer need to resist them. You can embrace them knowing that they are a part of the journey, a part of the path that is leading you back to yourself. In this space of deep surrender and trust, you will find that everything you need will be provided. You will never go without because you are connected to the infinite source of all abundance. You are not separate from the divine supply. You are a part of it. And when you align with your true self, when you live in harmony with the flow of life, all that you need will come to you effortlessly. It may not always come in the form you expect, but it will come in the form that is most aligned with your highest good. And so, beloved soul, as you continue on this journey, remember this. You are not here to chase after anything. You are here to remember who you already are. You are here to awaken to the truth of your own divine nature. You are here to live from a place of love, of peace, of joy. You are here to express the truth that is already within you. And when you do this, the world will reflect that truth back to you in ways you cannot yet imagine. So let go of the need to search, let go of the need to chase, let go of the need to become. You already are everything you seek. You are already whole, already enough, already loved. And when you remember this, everything in your life will shift. You will begin to live with a sense of peace, of trust, of surrender, knowing that all is well. And in this peace, in this knowing, you will find the freedom you have been seeking, not in the world outside, but in the depth of your own being. And when you live from this space, you become a living testament to the truth that what you seek is already within you. It always has been, and now, as you stand at the threshold of this sacred understanding, know this. You are not stepping into something new. You are returning to something ancient, something timeless, something eternal. What you have been seeking, what you have been searching for, has always been within you. It was never lost. It was only momentarily forgotten, buried beneath layers of conditioning, of fears, of illusions, and now the veil is lifting, the fog is dissipating. You are remembering. There's a quiet beauty in this remembrance. It is not loud, not brash, not dramatic. It is a soft, steady awakening, like the first light of dawn breaking through the stillness of night. It is the moment when you realize that the journey was never about finding something outside of yourself, but about rediscovering what was always there. The peace, the love, the joy, they were never hidden from you. They were simply waiting for you to stop searching for them elsewhere, waiting for you to turn inward and recognize that they were a part of you, as much a part of your soul as your breath, your heartbeat, your being. And in this moment of recognition, everything changes. The world shifts. It becomes more vibrant, more meaningful, more alive. Not because the world itself has changed, but because your perception has. You begin to see the beauty in the simplest of things, the way the light plays on the leaves of a tree, the sound of a bird singing its morning song, the feeling of the earth beneath your feet. These are not small, insignificant moments. They are sacred. They are divine. They are the very fabric of existence, woven together in the most exquisite tapestry of life. You realize now that everything in your life, every encounter, every challenge, every joy, every sorrow, is a reflection of the truth within you. The people you meet, the experiences you have, they are all part of the grand design, part of the divine plan unfolding perfectly in its own time. You no longer need to fight against life. You no longer need to control and manipulate your circumstances. You no longer need to push or strive. You only need to trust. Trust that life, in all its wisdom, is guiding you to exactly where you need to be. This is the freedom that comes with living in alignment with your true self. It is the freedom from the need to prove, to perform, to become. It is the freedom to simply be, to live from a place of peace, of love, of deep knowing. And in this freedom, you discover a new kind of power, not the power to control, not the power to dominate, but the power to surrender, the power to trust, the power to flow with life, knowing that everything you need will come to you in its own time, in its own way. And as you embrace this freedom, you will begin to notice that life becomes lighter. You no longer carry the weight of fear, of worry, of doubt. You no longer feel the need to defend yourself or to protect yourself from the world. You walk through life with grace, with ease, with a quiet confidence that comes not from your achievements, but from your being, deep within, that you are enough just as you are, that you do not need to change, to strive, to become something more. You are already whole. You are already complete. This is the truth that has been with you all along. You are not broken. You are not incomplete. You are not a collection of your past experiences, your failures, your fears. You are the infinite, the eternal, the divine. You are the stillness behind the storm, the light behind the clouds, the awareness that sees all things without being touched by them. And when you live from this place of truth, you realize that you are not separate from the world. You are the world. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean contained in a single drop. And when you embrace this truth, when you truly live from it, you begin to see that there is nothing to fear. The ego may continue to rise up, whispering its lies of inadequacy, of not being enough, of needing more. But you, dear soul, now know better. You know that these are just shadows, fleeting illusions that can no longer hold power over you. You are no longer the mask you wear. You are the light behind the mask. You are not the roles you play. You are the formless, the eternal, the boundless. And so, in this knowing, you begin to walk through life with a quiet grace. You no longer need to chase or strive. You no longer need to compete or compare. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone, because you have already proven to yourself that you are enough. You are worthy, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. You are worthy simply because you exist. And in this knowing, in this deep, unshakable truth, you find peace. Peace that does not come from the absence of challenges, but from the presence of truth. Peace that does not come from the world aligning with your desires, but from aligning your desires with the truth of who you are. Peace that does not come from external circumstances, but from the stillness within. And in this peace, you are free. You are free to be yourself, free to express your truth, free to love without conditions, to give without expectation, to serve without attachment. You are free to live from the depth of your soul, to walk the path that is uniquely yours, without fear of judgment, without the need for approval. You are free to create, to build, to serve, to share your gifts with the world. And in doing so, you will find that the world reflects back to you all, that you have given peace, love, joy, abundance. But the most beautiful thing of all is this: you will no longer seek these things outside yourself. You will no longer search for validation or fulfillment. You will no longer chase after love or success or happiness, because you will know that these things are not found in the world. They are found within. And when you live from this truth, you become a beacon of light, a living testament to the power of love, of peace, of truth. You will radiate these qualities into the world, and the world will respond in kind. This is the magic of remembrance. This is the power of returning to yourself. It is not the power to control, to conquer, or to dominate. It is the power to surrender, to trust, to allow. It is the power to live from the depth of your soul, knowing that all is well, that all is unfolding as it should. And as you live from this space, as you walk this path of remembrance, you will find that everything you have been seeking will come to you not because you chased it, but because you became it. You will find that love, peace, joy, and abundance are not things to be attained. They are states of being, expressions of your true nature. And when you align with your true self, when you remember who you are, all of these things will flow into your life effortlessly, because they are already within you. And so, beloved soul, as you continue this journey, remember, you are already enough. You are already whole. You are already love. The most important journey is not the one that takes you out into the world. It is the journey that takes you within to the truth of who you are. And when you remember that truth, everything changes. You are free. You are whole. You are love. And in that freedom, you will find that life in all its beauty is a reflection of the divine. It is not something to be controlled or mastered. It is something to be lived, to be embraced, to be experienced in all its fullness. And as you embrace it, as you live it from a place of truth, you will find that the world becomes a mirror of the love, the peace, and the joy that resides within you. Because, dear soul, you are the divine, you are the light, you are the love. And now you remember, and in this remembrance, you are free. You are already enough. You always have been. And now,